So what do you have in mind, Kushi? You have questions, you want us to be like a open discussion?
I have certain questions right now which we wanted to answer, and after that
Okay.
we'll have a open Q&A session from the
Okay.
people who are
So how many people are there? Not many people are there, right?
there. Hello. There's 13 people.
So what's the status? How many nominations, how many positions are there exactly this year?
Uh, that I think Preetham would answer.
Ma'am, we don't know that, and
So
we,
constitution has, I think, the upper limit on size of the council is something 13.
is
So
that's the joint number for both PhD and
PhD, PhD,
Yeah.
pretty large number. Last year's number was, I think, 16 or 18. The elected council was about 18 members.
And how many nominations have been received? Do you know?
This year only 7.
Oh.
The one reason could be that it was a time of registering for courses, and I don't know what.
So is the plan to extend the nomination deadline?
No, that's already extended to 18. That is tomorrow.
Okay.
So it was last week, I think. They extended by 7 days. It was 11th of July, and now it is extended to 18th
Of August.
August.
Yes.
Okay, we may start the
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, so the
And
first question was to describe your roles in the council, like the responsibilities that you had
in what responsibilities
as
in?
as a member of the student council, like the
These are
work
not
you did.
members of the.
We were not members of student council. We are part of the committee, which is a student activities, COSA.
But you were associated.
Okay, let me describe to you what the whole process is. There are various directed appointed committees in the institute. COSA happens to be one of them, which is very closely associated with student activities. It actually looks at student activities on campus. There are other committees such as curriculum committee, academic committee, dining committee, sports committee. There are many committees, and the council, the student council, which is an elected body of students representation in short. They have one or two members in each of these committees actually are student members, which are council members, student council members. And the student council by itself is elected by students on the campus. So we were on a committee in which we had a direct interface with student council members, and we closely worked with them. And I think today's interview is about um, how student council really helped in solving a lot of student related problems or students
Yes.
problems on campus. So that's the
Yes.
purpose of this interview. Myself and Suvita, I was a dean of student activities, and Suvita is a chair of sports committee. So we had a close interaction with council members, and we sort of can answer questions in what way council actually represented students' interests in these committees. Okay.
So as yeah. So as the dean of student activities, how do you think the council helped? Like, what beneficial, what benefits do you think
Okay.
you get?
So I am a dean of student activities, and I also happen to be a member of Senate because being a dean of student activities, I am a member of Senate also. The most important thing that this council achieved, because almost the entire year, the entire tenure of this council was nobody was on campus. The students are at home, and the council had to work from wherever they are, from their homes. So the first meeting that the council had was about when the decision was taken to send students home, and in March of 2020. The first meeting director call of the council members to convey this and take their input as well. some extent. After that, students went home, and then the question came about how do we do online teaching? Most importantly, how do we do online evaluation? I think the council members deliberated this in their meetings, council meetings, and both Prakash Panwaria and Nikita, who is the general secretary of the council, and she was there in the Senate. And council members are also members of they are members of Senate. So anything that is related to students' life on campus is or the decisions are basically discussed in senates, and Nikita and Prakash were there. At least two senate meetings that happen, they happen each semester. They very strongly put forward the case for how the evaluation of the online semester should be done. The Dean of Academics had come up with a plan after discussing with Dean Academic Committee, and these two students actually, through the deliberation in the Senate, managed to convey what students are feeling, what challenges they are facing, how the grading should be done, shouldn't be done in a normal way. And all of this, whatever plan the Dean of Academics had come to Senate with, had to be significantly altered, taking into view what Nikita and Prakash were saying. And then the decisions were taken. I don't know how successful they were in conveying that this is what they achieved, but they did that. That's the first instance I remember where the council played a significant role. Second, two members of council were part of COSA, which is a committee on student activities. And whenever possible, these two members have raised concerns and voices about students, be it some PhD students had come back on campus. When we have imposed certain rules that no deliveries are allowed inside, these two student members always found out ways of convincing us to make sure that the security at the gate will keep the parcels, and some system can be devised so that students can go pick this thing up after if they're busy in the labs and whatever. So in many instances, Sujita can tell more from her sports community experience, but I can go on listing the number of occasions on which student council actually played an important role in students' life on campus. Of course, this was constrained due to them being at home, and and the campus life itself is paralyzed actually to some extent. Everything is online, and but whatever that online way of education, students council members have actually very strongly put forward the students' interest in front of Senate. And not having students in Senate, it would have been very detrimental for the evaluation that happened for last two semesters. It would have been in a very different way than what it is now. So I think I urge all of you to take this into consideration. If you don't want to represent yourself and be on for instance, faculty in this institute has no such option. We do not have a faculty council which has representation on all the directed appointed committees, where the faculty's interests also are sort of, the committees which look after faculty's interests. No such provision is there for faculty, but that provision is there for students. Student elected council members are actually on all the directed appointed committees. And that's quite a big thing that we have worked very hard to sort of convince everyone in the institute, all the deans, all the chairs of various other committees, the Constitution Committee, and all of us put together a lot of efforts so that the council comes into existence. That is, the elected council comes into existence. And my opinion, this is very important that students take it upon now themselves to come forward and look after their own interests.
So, because a lot of students think that they don't contribute too much because they are in an online environment and most of their interaction with the college is through online classes.
Khushi, I would actually start off with a question. Do you guys? So one thing is, has the previous student council been in conversation with our students to communicate the kind of contributions they were able to make.
Uh,
And I guess the second part of the question is, have also things that they were unable to achieve, and therefore the new council members would be able to, or at least could put in an effort to achieve the agenda they were not able to achieve. That's my question number one. Question number two is, do you know what is, I understand that some of the students are here. There's a very good chance that we're going to get more and more students in the coming months. Apart from being long distance, I mean, we are taking our classes long distance, right? So, I mean, a lot of these things are being facilitated with technology. So, apart from long distance, what is the reason that there is a reluctance to join or at least file their nominations? Can you give us an understanding of that? Have you guys done some homework on, and then we can maybe directly address those questions, right? Because I think overall, what's the role of council is there in the constitution. I mean, I'm sure all of you are aware the kind of things that members can do or expected to do when they are on committees. Every elected member has a manifesto or an agenda that they sort of put forward to the students about the positive changes they'd like to bring about in the student council. So these are almost this is sort of the backdrop that all of you are aware of. We cannot add to that. And I think the most valuable information about the contribution of student council can come only from the council members. So I think if you ask us more specific questions, or if you give us the idea, a sense of why is there a reluctance, and maybe we can ease up some of those concerns, or ease up some of those doubts. That would be maybe a more useful direction for this conversation to go into.
Yeah. So
do you, to remind you of my two questions, has the council been in touch with the rest of the students to talk about things they were able to achieve and things they were not able to achieve in their tenure? And question number two is, why is the reluctance?
I believe there is a meeting scheduled with the council today at 8 p.m.
Okay.
I think there are 2 ex-council members who will be speaking with the general student body.
Okay.
And there's a specific set of questions for them.
Okay.
And as for the second thing, as far as I have seen, like I've asked people to nominate themselves, and the reasons that I've been getting is, I don't think people understand how far-reaching the consequences of joining the student council is, because they equate the council as being a part of a club, and so they don't think it's important enough. Because
but why is this? What's the source of this misinformation? Right? I mean, student council has a history in our country. Whether they go by unions or student council, the document is very well and clearly written. The role of the council is very clearly described. So, what's going on? Some of the students, so some of you guys who are here are obviously interested. Maybe you can put it up in the chat box, and we can take it from there. Because it's no point sort of reiterating. I mean, we can give you a laundry list of, and the council members are going to do that too, right? Give a laundry list of all the things they were able to achieve, the battles they forced, what they were not able to achieve, why they were not able to achieve. And these were the people who should be talking to you about this, right? You can't stress the importance of council more. They are obviously an interfacing body. They put the right kind of pressure on the authorities in one direction. The other direction, I think the institute and the authorities find it more it's easier to communicate where they come from. So I think the line of communication is possibly the most important role played by the council in the past year because of the pandemic. Because the rules constantly had to be updated. There was lots of changes. And some of these changes were probably not easy to implement, but had probably they were perceived as fair, they were unfair. And so I think that it was important to have the council members to understand the complexity of the situation. So I think the job of the council members in a lot of these situations was to understand where the institute came from, and then maybe try their best to pass that information on to the rest of the student body. So we are all on the same page, right? I mean, the idea is to work together, right? Optimally, where everybody is happy and healthy, right? I mean, the happiness quotient has to go up because of the council, very clearly. The well-being of the students, academic and in other ways, right? Facilitates success in science and other co-curricular activities, right? So all these are, I mean, of course, that's the basic backdrop. I don't think we need to reiterate any of these things. So does anybody have an understanding of why there's a reluctance?
So I
Can
think
you
what
hear me?
Rithi, yeah.
I'm sorry, question. Sorry.
So there is something in chat box. I can read it out.
Yeah.
Maybe people are not so sure if there will be a lot of change in return for a lot of hard work.
Kushi, do you mind if I answer ma'am's question?
Yeah.
Sure.
So the council, what it did was a very interesting thing. For in one part, it succeeded in what it is supposed to mean to the students, but in another part, it didn't do what it's supposed to do to the students. So, for example, I think the very thing that Sir mentioned during the Senate meetings, I think this point of evaluation for the semester that was cut in half, and for the registrations for the upcoming semester, the council perhaps did a good job, really a really brilliant job in, especially with this one suggestion of bringing down the credit requirement,
Correct.
and that is
That
something
was
I don't.
completely to their credit.
Yes, and so the credit limit was reduced to 12, and that is something none of us would have thought of, conceived of. I don't think faculty would have conceived of the same thing. Even if they did, I would be very grateful. But that's something the council did that was very good. But what they failed to do is, in fact, tell what they did to the people. So no town hall was organized, and that is surely a result of the pandemic and long distance and anticipation of coming back to campus and all of that.
So those are easy to fix. Sorry, go ahead. But those
sure.
are things that, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
This is my diagnosis of
Okay.
this. And what they failed to do is communicate. What they did in actuality is what the council is supposed to do. So there was a, I would call it a one-sided action where they went on with the administrative work, but did not really communicate to the students what they did in time or in their whole, tenure. So that is one problem. And
so, do you think that has led to this misconception that they have having a council is not very effective? And is that what's happening? Are the students questioning the effectiveness of council, and therefore they are not willing to put in their foot into this or to get their hands dirty? Is that?
So actually, so when the council was conceived and the first elections were conducted, a lot of opinion was that this would in fact act as a buffer body between the admin and the students, while there's already proper communication between the students and the admin. But I think that was fairly addressed by the council, because the council did a good job at the starting of their tenure, and in their term, in the first few months, they sent out multiple surveys, summarized them, put them forward with the administration, and sort of did good things to the student community, especially when it comes to academics and bringing students back to campus. I think the mess committee also decided a lot of things for the quarantine food. So given that, I think the only problem I see is communication. That is my only.
So here's the thing, right? And all of you guys, I think it's important that you think about it, right? I mean, I think it could be argued what score would you give on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 100 this previous council, but you also have to give them credit for this is the first council. These are hard times. They were battling with a lot of complex issues, and yet they carried this additional burden of making everybody's lives better, right? And so whatever the discussion and however you score them, I hope you guys are generous to this first batch of council members. However, I think this should not be seen as a limiting factor or a bottleneck, right? This is just the beginning. if the issues or the gaps can be clearly identified, there's very clearly a role that the new council members can play or address in order for the council to be more effective. I mean, very clearly, one of the issues you think was that you wish they were more communicative. There's more transparency. There's more dialogue between the council members and the students, right? And that's easy to fix. I mean, we have online classes, and that's something that can go as a recommendation. Or there's as much as it's the burden of the council members to be the buffering body, I think it's also burden of the constituents to put pressure on the council members to be on the right track, right? And therefore, this is all. I mean, I think the idea always is to have a counterbalance, right? The idea is also have the right kind of pressures that forces us to look at all the parameters or all the dimensions for every decision. For the institute, for the students, and the council members are supposed to buffer that, right? So I think these are issues that can easily be fixed. I think at a theoretical level, as much as hard it might be, we want to have an empowered council body. Now the question is, why should the council members put their necks on the line? Why should they? Now, for that's a question I would like to put this on the floor, right? Why should they risk it all? Why should they carve time out of their whatever primary agenda to do this hard work? Now, if you have, I'd like to ask some of you, right? You guys are organizing an interview, and you want to put kind of encourage people to file their nominations. What do you think it is in for the council members to do this?
I think this is one of the questions that people actually wanted to know, like what Riti said.
Are they buffered from being sidelined by the institute, by the faculty members? They might sometimes be in contradiction with, and yes, they are, right? So, but how do we? So, I think maybe we should. How do we protect? What can we do as an institute, or the new COSA can do in order to protect the council members from angst of, I guess, people in authority? I mean, these are the hard questions that you might want to ask us, and I don't know if we have answers to, but we can think about it,
Yes, and like you asked why people aren't willing to take part in the council, and as you yourself said, like, what do they get out of this if they're doing so much work? So
it can't be completely altruistic, no? I think you have to. To me, I think one of the things is that, of course, it's leadership, right? Leadership skills, working with a team of diverse people, working with people in different positions of authority. These are invaluable life skills. Why is it such a sought after position in everywhere else, right? IITs, it's a hard fought election. Why are we not thinking about it along those lines? We have to elevate these positions to something like that, right? Where it's you have a leader that you can look up to, and the leader gains from that, right? I think, as much as we are a science institute, we have always said that we don't expect everybody to become scientists. We expect people to learn the scientific methodology that they can implement in whatever walk of life they choose later on, right? And so I don't think there is better job for in terms of life skill than learning to balance these very competitive forces, especially we're still in the middle of a pandemic. So I think it's a great challenge. I think some of you are very, very suitable for this. And you should just walk up to it and see what you can do, and identify the issues that the previous council members weren't able to resolve or were not empowered enough to resolve, and slowly make sure that the body is more empowered.
So what you're saying is what we get out of it is a good work experience and leadership skills that will be honed by getting in. There is also this thing that people are just too tired, like they are also reluctant in, like Rana Joy says, that students have no say related to grading. in evaluations. And a lot of the college experience has been reduced to classes and grading and GPAs. So, do you think, like you said, like the uh, credits were reduced? So, if more students have a say in the grading process, would it be better? Like, would more students be interested in becoming a part of the council?
You know, I don't know. Maybe Shiva has. I have an opinion about this, but I'll let Shiva speak.
No, what was the question that no, I lost the question. The question was that if more students become part of the grading system, then
Yes. Like, should they be involved in the process?
see the way everything works is that you can't really determine or rather dictate completely the outcome of any committee's decision. You can shape it, you can deliberate matters, you can put forward what students' interests are. It may go in a right in your direction, it may not go the way you are thinking about it. Okay, it's always how convincing you are. For instance, as I gave the example of Senate, the dean of academic committee came with the grading plan, evaluation plan, and when it was present in front of the Senate, student members sort of gave their perspective, and they could convince the entire Senate, which is like 30-40 members, professors and even from people outside the institute. They convinced them, and they got the result out. This may not be possible every time. Okay, I think this is a thing that everyone has to understand, that once you are a part of the committee, you have a chance to represent the interests of students who have elected you. Okay. But the outcome of that committee may not always go in the direction of what you are saying there. Okay. There could be many other constraints. Right. For instance, there were student members in the task force which I was part of, and they were always saying that let's do something and get everyone back on campus, which was basically a constraint which is not in anybody's hand, because if the state government has not opened up colleges in the city, and the PMC has not allowed it, who can take that decision? Okay. So some of these decisions will always, students, if you take a survey, let us say 99% of the students will say bring us back to campus, but that decision is nobody can take. So it's not a question about making more people part of the grading system, part of the deciding curriculum. I think if you, this is a institute in which there are certain things which are there. Okay, they are like the curriculum is decided. We are teachers and you are student, and what we want to, I mean, as a collective teachers body, this curriculum is also sent to people outside and decided upon, and then it is executed, right? So if students start to decide what they want to learn, then there is no role of teachers in this whole process. So it is not like that. Instead, it is the situation. For instance, the credits, because of the pandemic situation, I set a rule of a minimum credits of 21, which was reduced significantly and made, I think, 12 or whatever. I don't know the exact number. I think such decisions can be made to some extent by having students on decision-making bodies. All right, but not always that you will have an outcome the way you want it.
So the more important point here is that at least you have a say in.
At least you have a say. For instance, suppose in those Senate meetings there was no student.
Yes.
Imagine what would happen. Evaluation would happen the way Dean of Academics would see right under his committee, not him only. His committee, they have their own way of coming to that decision. They haven't listened to student perspective, and finally, when it was presented in Senate, it had to be turned down. So the point is, I think this happens in all committees. This will happen in all committees. And somebody raised the issue about conducting surveys. I think the student council did conduct the surveys. After those surveys in respected committees, those concerns were raised, students' voice was raised. Taking it back to students was possible only through town hall meetings, which was not possible. I think they didn't think about having a town hall meeting through Google Meet or Zoom, because every time we thought that maybe next month everybody is going back to the college, going back to the institute. Everyone, even now today, we are thinking that within a month or so, all of you will be back. Actually, we are thinking like that. there is an email from director saying start thinking, start making plans. Now last time we made plans and everything was kept ready, and second wave came. So I think the point is there's a lot of unpredictability in this year, and even now we are making preparations, and maybe third wave hits us, and all preparations goes for toss. I remember one batch of students was returning was asked to cancel their tickets because the city was having no beds, no hospital beds for corona patients. So now in such situation, we had to curtail all the plans and all the things. So this is institutional, problem. But the point is, students have played a role wherever they could. The student council have played a role wherever they could. Is what I want to say. I think I want to talk about. I think these are the question is not about was this council successful in doing what what they were supposed to do. The question here is about somebody has said it that one feels really tired, and this year has been full of uncertainties, and I guess people don't want to sit at their home and be a council member, and there's no guarantee of them coming back to campus. This, I think, that is the reason people are saying that, okay, what's the point in
Yes.
now contesting an election, and still sit at a home, and more than 60% of or 80% of your what one calls a college life is not happening. So the only evaluation criteria, grading criteria, some online exams, online teaching, and issues like this. So I think if you people are feeling that this is just not enough to be a council member, dealing with these problems only, instead of having, there's a Karwa in other years, there is like a lot of sports events happening, and then council members probably would have a lot more to do than they had in the last year. So but I think only thinking like, we will never go back to campus and let's not contest election is very defeatist kind of approach. You should think in a positive manner, so that in such a way that maybe in 2 months time we'll all go back to campus. And although remember one thing, the council that was elected here on campus had to function online all of its tenure. Maybe the council that is elected on an online election will function its entire tenure, probably will be spent on campus. So let's not think in this way that what's the point. I guess the reluctance from students' point of view is what's the point of contesting an election now? Even if I win it, I am still sitting at home, and I will not be able to contribute, or I will not be able to take part in campus activities in life. Nobody will be able to take part. If that is the thinking, I will urge you to think about it twice, and maybe month or two, who knows, the state government opens up colleges and we can call you all back. We have made all the preparations. In fact, we have made a preparation to make sure that the single occupancy rooms is given to all students from third year on. So these preparations have been made, but we're just waiting for this government or the state government or the PMC to say, okay, go ahead and open colleges. We are not, so these are the things that what I'm trying to say is that maybe a month or 2 months from now, you will all be here on campus. Who knows?
People should look at.
Instead of thinking, what's the point of contesting election where the full semester is going to be, or full year?
Yeah.
I will say, even if this semester becomes online, maybe the following semester you will all be here and will be enjoying your college life. And in that time, you will feel the need of council, and you will feel the it would have been better to have a council and better to have contested the election. That feeling could be there, so because we don't have a council for a year, one academic year. I think it is not good for anyone, not good for students. For institute, actually, if you think about it, they will go about doing their business without any opinion from
Interference
students.
from the students.
Right?
Sir, if I may, I would just like to clarify what I said. So there are two different points that I was making. The first point was why people are not applying. Is the last year has been not great in terms of anything. even the response from ICER, the curriculum, the workload, but because there's a lot of other factors that affect a student when he is not on campus. There's hundreds of different things that the student has to face apart from his college life, and that is maybe that is one of the reasons why like even now, since it's an online semester again, people have just lost the will to do anything else, because already whatever we have on our plate is just too much to handle. And regarding the second point, what I made, that was for the students council, whatever whoever is elected, they should just make an assumption that no one is coming back on campus just because that the communication reaches us, or else it will just happen like the last time. Yeah, everyone is going to come back in a month, so we'll do a town hall then, and it will just keep postponed.
So, Harshit, this is the point I'm trying to tell you. Suppose I tell you now that we have made all the preparations and within a month you're coming, and second wave hits us in a month's time. I think this unpredictability is way too much. It's nobody's fault.
Yeah,
it is
sir.
nobody's fault that there's no plan in place, because you can't plan with the
Sir,
pandemic.
I'm not arguing about the plan or anything. I'm just asking
Yeah,
that
sure.
the student
So-
council assume that no one is coming
Sure.
back
So
to campus,
basically
so that
you
we
are-
get the communication.
Sure. So basically, one of the most important expectation from you guys for the council is that they keep you in the loop. I think that's an easy to resolve issue, right? But that is the second step after you have a council. Right now, it doesn't seem like that's looking very realistic, right? With seven nominations, right? So
we will not have a council less than 15 members, probably. This has to be talked to the director about. And because see, there are so many committees, we can't have like 2 people on 5 committees. Okay,
so-
because that's too much work for those students. So we probably cannot have more than less than 15-16 member council, because otherwise 5 members or 10 members council is way too much work for that council to begin with. Given that, then think about it. Then if we do not have enough nominations, and rough number would be like, for having a council of 15, we at least would need a 30 nominations. And if these are not there, probably the institute will take a decision as that the elections will not happen.
Okay, I have another take on this that I hope will convince at least some of you, right? I think one of the major issues of being a student from home is the sense of alienation that you have from your peers, from your seniors, juniors, from the institute. I think being a council member can actually help resolve that sense of alienation, right? I'm not undermining the fatigue, but lot of you, I refuse to believe that a lot of you are so monochromatic that all you want to do is worry about your grade, right? And we don't want to use that as a bribe, right? Or we'll get you on the grade, have you guys have a more of a say in the grading system and all that. Honestly, we know better, right? I mean, whether you like to hear this or not, we've been there, done that. I think the people in the academic office, and you might not trust them or you might not agree with some of their system, but you have to go with the assumption that they are the ones who have a broader understanding of the system, what is fairer to most students, and to make sure that we make meet certain criteria set up by the government and by the educational by our governing board, etc., right? So having more representation in the academic rulings, or having more of a say in the grading system, I don't think that should be the limiting reason. I mean, you guys already do have you're part of that discussion, and that's already good enough, right? You have to trust the institute when it comes to academics and curriculum and grading at some level, right? I think there needs to be an understanding of that, because so that's one part, right? But and I don't want to undermine the fatigue, and I know a lot of you are suffering with mild to severe mental health issues, but most importantly, it's the alienation, and I think this can fix it, right? Taking something on which takes you beyond, listening to recorded lectures, to doing your homework, to actually having interactions. Now, I understand these are not the same as offline interactions, but these are still interactions by the end of the day make you feel good. Why does anybody choose to be in a leadership position? right? Why did Shiva decide to take on dean, or why am I in COSA for 7 years? By the way, I'm also the associate dean. Or why do I spend my time in the sports committee? Right? What does it give me in terms of my professional fulfillment? Right? And I think I think all of us innately have a need to do beyond what we think our calling is, right? And this is a great opportunity, right? I mean, I know it's almost too dramatic to say that, too mushy to say that, but to make a difference to people around you. You know, each of us has a radius of influence. You guys have a radius within a classroom. When you're talking to each other, there are a few people who stand out and buffer things up when there is conflict, right? Come up, come out, extend your radius of influence to the institute. Make life, if you know everybody is not doing great, 2 years ago, I think the average mental health index would have been higher, right? But maybe you can make it better than last year, right? And you know exactly what you need to improve upon from the previous council members, right? I mean, they tried their hard, but now you can see clearly what the areas where they could have done better. Fix this, fix the system. That's all. I mean, any position of leadership is, at least at some level, you want to fix the system. Why don't you guys want to do that? It should be if you are tired, this should energize you. And maybe you can have a list of issues that I can think of 20,000 things that could have been done better, right? In the last 5 years or 10 years or in last month, right? And I'm sure each one of you has those issues, right? And I'm sure a lot of you have the abilities to actually be persuasive in your arguments. And these are the positions that allow you to actually put forth these arguments. These are the positions that allow you to be part of the discussion, every bloody discussion that affects your life. Why don't you want to be part of that?
Yeah.
All of these things that you say, I don't have a clear argument. Why don't you want to be part of a setup where you can make a difference to you, to your life? Given that we are all screwed, I understand we are screwed. There's unpredictability, there's so much uncertainty, all of that. But this is going to make your life better. This is going to make our life better as an institute, because we actually, instead of trying to communicate to 2,000 students, we have a possibility of having a focused discussion that gets transmitted to you, hopefully in a better way, right? So there is less resentment, there's less antagonism. We all are, in the end, the whole idea of having this was to make all our lives better, much easier. No? So,
so when you say that it made your life, like it makes our lives better, I think you were part of the student committee before the council and after the council. So what specific changes did you see that happened?
I think it just gives you an easier line of communication. The channeling of information is easier, and that's the most important part of any governing body, communication.
So the communication gets easier.
And so
also shaping the decisions of committees, I think, including Senate. That's not a small one. Think about it.
And so I think maybe it would be helpful if the council actually puts up a laundry list of all the things that they were able to contribute to, and all the things they were not able to contribute to, and why, right? And so this gives a direct agenda for the new council members to think about, or at least to put up their nominations. Like, how am I going to, these are the things they were not able to do, how am I going to be able to change that scenario, right? So if I think Sai Smith, I see Sai Smith somewhere. So I don't know who else is there from the previous council, but whoever you guys are, I think if you can do this homework, I think it will be more compelling for people to jump into the arena,
The two hands, hands raised, Ranojay, Abhilash, and Jasveer. So Ranojay, you want to say, or this is a hand raised from previous?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, so fine, you want to continue? Okay.
Sure, go on.
Okay,
yeah, so I just, like ma'am just now said that we should trust the academic office. Yeah, definitely we should. And regarding this academic committee, I just have a few things to say. Like, I have actually seen that there are a lot of issues faced by students, not only related to grading, it also relates to evaluations, cheating, and etc. factors when it comes to an online semester. There are certain issues, I think, if the academic committee is enabled, then it would be better for
Sure.
for the council.
Sure, that can be
Because-
part of the agenda.
Can you clarify what do you mean by enabling the academic committee?
I mean, as of now, like student council members are only invited, like by the dean of academics to their meetings, senate meetings. But I think like having a academic committee is the necessity of the council, because I have seen in other ICERs there are committees related to academics where student representatives from each batch kind of talk to faculty straight away.
But that, so do you think that's what stopped? I mean, I think the agenda for this meeting is to have a discussion that facilitates nominations. So do you think if the academic office considers this request, but I don't know how much time they have to do this, right? Do you think that will facilitate nominations?
Yeah, I personally think so, because like I think the priorities have changed in this online semester, and since there is a lack of experience, people are kind of deciding this GPA to be the sole indicator of academic caliber. And I think that like if students are like able to voice their opinions through this committee, then it would be like a greater well-being for the entire student community, not only one or two students.
Okay. I think,
Do you mind if I add?
Yeah.
go ahead.
So there's this conjecture at ICER: for every n positions, there's always lesser than or equal to n minus 1 applicants, and that has been true for Karwa, for Disha, for clubs, and that has been true always. And the point about academic committee having invitational members of the council, I think I raised this last year in the first town hall. So there was this draft constitution that was written in August 2018, and that had academic committee as one of the essential committees with representation. But when the final constitution, the office memorandum came up, that was changed to invitational status. And when I raised this, the point that came across was first let the first council come up. We will slowly increase the power of the council. And quite frankly, I don't think Ranjoy's point of this lack of empoweredness is the reason ICE students don't participate in the council. I think it's the other way around. We barely participate that the admin doesn't want to give us any power, because there's 7 applicants this year. So I think in the first round there were 11 applicants last year, and then they extended the deadline and it went up to roughly 27. And so the actual council is supposed to have 30 members and 3 members per committee. But now it was reduced to 18 in the last year because the number of applicants was just 27 or 28, if I'm right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And this year it's much worse. So quite frankly, I don't think it is the academic or the lack of power for the council that is deciding students,
Yeah. So on that point, like, okay.
Probably students have to think about what Abhilaj just said. If you come forward for your own interests, you will benefit. If not, then what can be done?
Interest articulation at ICER is everybody has their own interests. Everybody wants to put them forward, but nobody comes forward. That is, I don't know why.
So why are you so disillusioned with your own community? What makes you guys so different? Because
this
you
is
go
just
to any
observational.
standard college.
Quite frankly, this is just observational.
Unfortunately, it is obviously observation based on experience. So it's real data. What makes you guys different? Because you go to any standard city college, Xavier's, Ferguson. I don't think that's the case. I think there's always competition. It's a very highly competitive process to be part of. You go to school level. Getting on the council is highly competitive. You go to any of the IITs, engineering professional. I mean, these people are not less serious about their careers than you guys are. There's always it's a highly competitive process. So what makes, I'm not sure how the other ICERs do when it comes to council membership, but do we have any speculation here? But what makes you guys stand out in your unwillingness to get your hands dirty and be part of the process to make it better?
So this
I
is
think
also
Jaspreet
observational.
wants to say something about.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
Jaspreet, go
wants to
ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Jaspreet had a
So from at least my perspective as a candidate to stand in the election, I think like like I was a fresher last year, and like I'm second year now, and the maximum limit that I knew about the working of the council was that Nikita Didi was the general secretary, and that's it. Like I didn't know actually about the inner workings of the committee. So like I don't know like what's on the campus and what to amend and what are the main problems to handle. Like I saw some of the videos on YouTube of Kalpa. There was this washing machine ka problem and stuff. Like legit had no idea that there were these problems. So I think in that way, if the student committee act like as a more prominent middle party between the students and the actual
What's up?
council, act as a more
Right.
prominent middle party between like the students and the administration, that would help to spread more awareness about the working of the committee. Like it could help to give more incentive to the people to join. Like we could hold like bi-semester or bi-annual public senate meetings with like the student council and the teachers on board, so they can know actually what does happen in the council to get an idea of what happens. And like of course like this is almost the end of the tenure, so we can't do all of those things right now, but like as probably a last moment thing, we can do like an open question and answer meeting with the like whole student council on one end and the students who are like volunteering on the other end, so they can state their grievances, and they can also know that yeah, these people are in power, they have the opportunities to deal with these problems. So like they get the thing that they get a incentive kind of thingy that yeah, instead of just stating complaints, I can actually be on the committee and fix them for myself and my fellow classmates.
So,
That's a good point.
so I think we are all sort of zooming into problem that I think was basically the starting point of this discussion, is that effectiveness of the council, right? And there we have sort of come up with various examples of effective. I think the effectiveness of the council is defined by its members, right? So the more competitive the process, the better filtering you'll have, the better representation you'll have, and the more effective the council will be. The constitution clearly defines the scope of the council, and how effective the council is in contributing is actually a merit of the council members, right? So that cannot be the reason for people from applying for nomination. So I think, so if that is the case, then I should just say that you guys should trust yourself. You guys should know better that you guys are great. You guys are amazing. Give yourself a pat on the back and you can do this, I think that I really don't want to undermine the previous council members' work, because I think they, in the hardest of times, they did what they could. And they were the first, you have to realize this is the first council. They didn't know how much they could get away with. They were really completely on new footing, right? So I think it's very important that you guys are generous about what they were able to do. If that's a starting point, and then the next step is how can we achieve more, right? I think, and again, the better members you get on board, and push your friends to go and file. If you think you have a really amazing leader in your class or in your friendship circle, push them to file their nomination papers. Tell them they have it in them. Tell them you'll be have their back. You'll do the grunge work. If there's a smaller circle of support that a person needs in order to file those papers, be that support system. Say that you will help them do the administrative work, that you'll contribute to the excessive time that this job might take off. And if they trust you, they will probably go ahead and file those papers, right? So either go ahead and file those papers, or get behind somebody's back you think is capable of representing you better, right?
So, is there some sort of a duty that students should have on themselves to promote the council? Because this is like a dream that this is something we promoted, that we wanted a council, we put it up, and now it will like fizzle out if we don't just nominate ourselves. So, should we like, yeah.
So there is a real danger of that. Let me tell you, since I am part of these efforts of forming the requisite, let's say, paperwork for getting the first council elected. Idea started like 3 years ago almost, as Abhilash said. We had first it was a matter of convincing the apex committee of the institute. I put in an agenda item for having this. I also pointed out that this is mandatory to have a student representatives on the Senate of the institute and various committees that the director has appointed, and showing them the MHRD, and even there is this ICER, I forgot it's called some book, ICER statutes. It was all mentioned there, and from there it started. And then quickly Apex committee resolved that yes, there's a requirement of such a council. All other institutes have it, and we shouldn't be without a student council. After Apex committee said yes, the director appointed a committee to form the draft, the constitution of the student council. This draft took several rounds of discussion, and in about a few months, the final draft was Pushkar was the chair of this draft committee. The first draft was then showed to all the chairs, all the deans. Then it was actually shared with people from outside the institutes. Notably, Suvita may remember it was shared with someone from NCBS, Matthew, who was General Secretary of IIT Delhi in the times of emergency in 1970, 72 or something. And this was shared with IIT Kanpur, IIT Bombay. Some people, did of student activities there. A lot of things were discussed with student Gymkhana from Kanpur. After all of this, we put together a document, and then this was approved by the Board of Governors. And after that approval, we started preparing for the elections, and we got the first council elected last year. And within 2 weeks of 2 or 3 weeks of the election, everyone was sent home. It is unfortunate, but imagine all of this. So suppose now there is a student council and everything is on paper, and students are not interested in conducting elections and having their representatives on these committees. What will happen? Maybe like what happened in the university system some times ago. People scoring good grades will essentially be picked up by the institute to put in the council, because it's mandatory that the council has to be there. The institute, it's a requirement that the student council should be there. And if it's not happening through the process of election, it will happen through something else, because clearly one could cite this example as there are only 5-7 nominations for this process, and as a result we are going to pick up student representatives this way. If you people want it like that, it's your call. Slowly, year after, this is a second year, third year, and consistently another year or so, if there are less nominations than the number of council members that we want to elect, somebody will point this out. It will be approved by the Board of Governors, and then there will be like first 3 people from a 2018 or 2015 batch, 5 people toppers will be given option to be on the council, and this will be an easy game for everyone, for the institute, for authorities, for administration, because there is certain confidence that the student has when they're elected by their fellow students. That confidence, a selected member, just because his or her grade, will never be able to show in front of
that will lead to more conflict.
Academic committee, in front of any committee. They will be just mute members of these committees, sit there because it's required on paper to have them on those committees. Think of this situation. If you want your community to be without any voice in all these committees, it's your call in the end. Our job was to put this system in place and try and make sure first few years at least it works well and goes on track, and council members actually, in fact, fearlessly will put forward students' interest in all these committees. And that fearlessness will only come if it is elected member, and not because it is coming to him or her due to the grades.
So I'd like to take these 2 questions. So I think Riddhi's and Swastik's questions, right? So Riddhi and Swastik, both of you think that they'll be certain students will be discouraged because it doesn't. Some of these issues don't concern them. Now, I think one of the things when you have several nominations and you elect your council members through a competitive process, you definitely want to have members who are not there or not self-serving, right? That's not what an ideal leader should be doing. You don't take on positions of leadership because you want to fill your own pockets, right? In this case, make sure that whatever your personal agenda is, right? So therefore, even more so, the reason to push your peers to file those papers, right? So you actually get the best of the lot to represent you. Now, the question about how the precise reason, this is Swastik's second question. The precise reason to have a council is to protect your students from the backlash of supposedly us who wield a lot more power and authority over you students, right? Because you are representing a collective. So it's no point penalizing or blacklisting the representative, right? So council, if you have any issues, one student has to write an email or try to have a discussion, maybe CC to a bunch of, but then it can, theoretically, a bunch of students can easily be targeted. With a council, you have anonymity. The council, you're always representing a collective, and therefore you're protected from any kind of, theoretically, you're protected from any kind of backlash by people in authority, by the faculty, by the academic, people in the academic office, by the deans, by the director, right? That's the whole idea, right? We wish sometimes we had a collective like that where we were talking about the government, or where we felt protected enough to bring up our concerns, right? And not worry about backlash. But you guys have, last year and a half, you have that privilege. I really urge you to take this on. It's a privilege. And it actually, as it turns out, the council has enormous amount of power in several committees. And they have the power to make a difference. And the previous council members have shown that they have brought about change. Now, of course, I'm sure that nobody's perfect, and neither were they, right? But there's only one way to go from there, no? Make them more empowered, make them more accountable, make them more effective. And so, as much as it is the council members' job, the elected members' job, I think it's a job of the community as well to make sure that they are more effective.
So there's a raised hand from Harsh Goel.
Yeah.
Yes, hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to bug Jasveer up a bit, as he said earlier. I also was interested in signing for student council, but then the only stumbling block that I ran into was that I don't know how it works, like what the duties are of the student council and everything. The only exposure I think the vast majority of our batch, which is the 2020 batch, have had is through Nikita, our senior.
Right.
And so if I would like to humbly request you, if for either Shiv Prasad sir or Suyata ma'am to just lay out the duties that a student council member or even the general secretary would have, other than to act as being the intermediary between students and the professors, I'd say. So yeah, if you could please.
Harsh, I think these are very well outlined in the student council constitution, the document which is there. Apart from, Harsh, you are in which year?
I bought the 2020 batch, which just started the third semester.
So essentially, I think if you had lived on campus for a semester or two, you will realize that IISER Pune is a residential campus. And the point is, it's not just the teachers, the professors and students. Our interaction is not only limited to academic matters, but once you're on campus, you are faced with a lot of challenges of the campus living. In the hostel, in dining halls, in the sports complex, you are a lot of issues that are there. It's general. This is in general called campus life. And I think the council members, the elected council members, have a representation on various committees, as I said earlier, which look after all of these issues. For instance, there's a dining hall committee. There's going to be a sports committee. It is there. There is academic committee, curriculum committee, sexual harassment cell, that's called ICC, Internal Complaints Committee. All of these committees, there is Senate. there is the student activities committee. All these committees have student representation through the council, and the council, that's the and in these committees the policy decisions are taken. For instance, what are the timings in which sports complex should be kept open? One decision, let's say it turned out that somebody said let's shut it down at 8 o'clock in the evening. Now this is inconvenient to students, let us say, and somebody decided up there in the authority, up there in the maybe director, registrar, or somebody. I think in the sports committee you have a student representation. Then this matter comes up for discussion. You definitely play a role in deciding what the opening hours should be for the gym, and this is for the dining hall. This is I was just picking up one example. Okay, so this is the role that the council plays.
Okay.
Bettering the students' life on campus.
So you'll have a all valuable discussion with your previous council members after this, right? About exactly kind of work they did, right? And I think since Shiva was talking about sports committee, and I'm also chair of that committee. They also contributed to what equipment needed to buy, to introducing coaches. So given so after, I think the way it works is that after the elections are done, I think there's within the council, the elected members, they decide which committees they should find themselves in. Okay. And they come to a mutually sort of agreeable list for that. And so I think there's a whole list of committees in the constitution, right, that the students, the elected student members should be on, right? And that includes COSA, MES committee. IC also has a student called, that's a nomination by the
if there is a student
medical committee
between students, then definitely.
Yeah. So and these are very giving the purview of the committee, the roles change, right? And then there's an overarching I think role that the council plays that has to come through cohesive discussion within the council members, right? Yes. And that's broad and admittedly last year it was a lot of this ended up being just basic logistic, right? But hopefully I think there's a reason to be somewhat optimistic now, right? I mean the third wave is looking not so bad, who knows? And
so for instance, it is not only these two members in a given committee. Before they go and represent students' interest on those committees, council can collectively make a decision and put a force, put a kind of influence the decision of any given committee. So it's not only limited to these two members. These two members are always talking to the rest of the council members, and then the council together say, yeah, fine. I mean, there has to be this thing in the gym, okay, and this can be pushed further in a sports committee. Sports committee, if the chair is convinced, everything then it goes further, So like that. I mean, one example, but this is true about all committees.
Yeah, so Ranuja has a question about the priorities have changed, and of course priorities have changed, right? Our whole entire perspective, worldview has changed, but we are still doing the basic stuff, right? We are still, and I think having a council is very much now part of the basal system that we need in order to us to function. So I urge you guys to rethink how you think about your life as a student. I think academics, of course, is the most important thing. That's why you joined IISER Pune. However, it would be terrible disaster if you think that's all there is to it. And just the way we have adjusted to new way of doing academics, I think we have also have to adjust to new way of running the council. And hopefully, I actually want you to, I really hope that you guys are on a more positive footing this month. Things are not looking so bad. Most of us are vaccinated. So there's reason to be somewhat optimistic, somewhat careful, but optimistic. But within your change priorities, I think this is part of your basal description of being a student. Either being an active community member in a way that you provide the feedback to the council members, or become a council member. very much important component of your student life. And of course you have to focus on your academics, but you have to take this to be not an extracurricular activity or something that you can choose to ignore, or because finally this is going to define the rest of your life as much as your academics is going to define the rest of your life.
I think it's around 7 o'clock.
हाँ, wrap करना चाहिए ना?
Take a last question. Sabresh has raised his hand. After that, we'll wrap up.
Oh. Hi, am I audible?
Yes, very much.
So
What did I'm joking.
This is just a request. So from my side, like from the conversation yesterday with Dr. Nagaraj and today's conversation, I think the first to second years, the 2020 batch don't have access to the constitution. So usually it's in the intranet, so people can like download it if they are in the campus. But I don't think it was shared to them at any point. So
I will share it
right away.
That is easy enough to do, right? Just give a link in someone's Google Drive.
Yeah.
I will say.
So I've also shared it in the chat here, like a student council website as a version. So like Shivrata sir can share it also. So it should be fine.
Just let me find out.
Do you guys know there's a student council website? Because I'm quite not certain.
There's a lot that people have just not been told.
So if you don't know, it's there in the chat. I just shared the link. Yeah.
I think if people don't have any more questions,
I have it on my another laptop, but I will send it to the 2020 batch, right? I will send a PDF
Yes,
to
sir.
2020 batch.
Yes.
Give me half an hour once I open the other computers. It is there. Okay.
Wrap up करते ना, it's a wrap. Just last few lines. अरे धक्का मारो यार, या तो खुद फाइल करो या तो एक दूसरे को धक्का मारो. You guys need it, we need it. There is no two ways about it. इतना क्या भाव खा रहा है सब लोग? Behave your age. You guys are like young.
See, second point. I think this was the constitution didn't allow this, but we have made an exception for the second year students, which are the 2020 batch. We say that they should be allowed to contest the election, so that otherwise they will go without representation for a year and a half almost. So this was a special thing that we requested the election committee. They also agreed to this. And I think even up to that, I think the second year students, those who are in 2020, you have about 4 more years in ICER. And I think
you can bring about serious changes in that time, right?
Yes, I think you have 4 years in ICER. And I understand somebody in 4th year who say that, okay, what's now, I am anyway wrap up and I will go out and my stint in ICER is over. But the students who are in the second year now, which is basically first years, because there's no first year yet, and third year students, they should be thinking about it, because they have 3 and 4 years in ICER, a lot of time.
So this is of course even the 4th year kids, right? I mean, this is I think you have to have the immediate influence that you can have, right? Immediate contribution you can make. And then even if you, for a year, if you don't see the immediate changes in an institute, I think you have the ability to think about the long-term impact that it is going to have on your life. From the experience of being a council member in dealing with diverse issues in the middle of a pandemic, dealing with the people in power, dealing with your own peer group, with your juniors, I think this is irreplaceable. You are super privileged if you're going to be elected without much competition, as it turns out. But make most of it. I don't know why even they should. Don't hesitate to file in your papers. Don't hesitate to put enough peer pressure on your friends who you think can be good leaders or will represent you better. And not just by hollow words, right? Promise them with the kind of support that they think they can rely on and feel encouraged to actually file those papers. So I think the onus is also on the rest of the community to make sure that we have enough nominations. So you have like exact 24 hours to do this, right? You shouldn't be wasting your time talking to us. Champion your people.
Yeah, so I think you guys still have a council meeting at 8 o'clock. So maybe we should wrap this up now.
I'll stop.
Right. So yeah.
Okay,
Right.
bye. Good luck. I hope we have 50 nominations.